We are live.
We're live. I can see your butt in the screen there, babe. Save that for me for later.
Ew, get on there.
Would you want to do the honors? You want to do the intro?
Sure. You want to close the door? Hey, keep that light on.
Oh.
What are you doing? Close the door all the way, please.
Yeah. All right.
I don't remember what our intro is, but
I'll just say we took a long break because life happened. My studies finally piled on for online homework or online classes. They blow ass. Never take online classes. They're fucking terrible. You don't learn anything. Yeah. But anyway, we're back. I know it's. I think the last upload was a month ago. That was the last thing I saw on YouTube. It was
actually in October.
In October? Shit. But it said a month ago. Last time I checked, I literally checked it like 2 days ago. It said a month ago for like an upload. Our last upload. But anyway, that's not the point. We're back. So hopefully y'all are
back in action, baby.
Back in action.
Have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, for the past 2 months we've been off. There's been a lot of crap that's been happening around the world and mostly around entertainment, which we're gonna focus on today. We're gonna talk about finally, as I don't know if the audience doesn't know, I finally got into The Mandalorian. Finally, I got into it right on time. The season finally, I finished season 1 as soon as season 2 started, and now I can talk about The Mandalorian finally. And that's what this episode's gonna be on. We're gonna talk about season 2 of The Mandalorian, which was amazing. And the other half, we're going to talk about CYBERPUNK77, which has been on everyone's video game news. But it's been a terrible launch for them. And I got a lot to say about it because I bought it on launch day, and it's a mess. I think I haven't even got halfway through it. But let's save that for the podcast. But other than that,
let's start on the good news.
Yeah, so wait, we got to do the intro. So I'm Gabe. This is Adam. So this is our podcast where we have two differences on subjects, but I'm pretty sure on this one we're all gonna have the same kind of opinions on most things today, since this is like a lot of entertainment. So yeah, episode 7 right here. Let's get to it.
Episode 7, Mandalorian, Luke Skywalker. Holy crap!
Spoiler.
They pulled this off. Oh yeah, this is spoilers.
Spoiler. Anyway. Put it on the title. It says spoiler right out the gate. So, as many of you beloved Star Wars fans out there, yeah, the very end of the season finale, fucking CGI Luke Skywalker was
Luke Skywalker. Oh my god! And I didn't. Let's just start with the gravy of this whole thing, because this is the best part of the whole damn series. Honestly. They've been hinting at Luke. I mean, for the time period this set's at, and I know you don't know the expanded lore and Rebels and all this stuff, but this is like when they said, "Baby Yoda, go to this temple and reach out, and you might find a Jedi. You might see a Jedi." All I'm thinking is, who's the strongest Jedi in the galaxy at this time? Who can he talk to? This is right after. This is 5 years after Return of the Jedi, so. It makes 100% sense that they'd bring Luke in. I just didn't think they would do it. I did not think they would do it. I thought they would do something else. They really have been hinting at it the whole time. So even when the one X-wing fighter came in.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was kind of like, "Is that Luke?"
So that's kind of how I was. I was like, "Wait a second, they're not really gonna do this." And then he starts walking through the halls, and I go, "They're not really gonna do this." And before the lightsaber strikes.
Saw his hand.
You see the hand. You see his glove. You see the black glove, and you see the other hand that has no glove. And I go, "That's freaking Luke Skywalker." My kids and I, we watch it. They're almost 4 now, but like they are freaking out because they don't even know what's going on. But I'm like, yelling at the top of my lungs. That's Luke Skywalker, and he just wrecks shop. And yes, the CGI was pretty awful. Let's be honest. But
yeah.
I didn't care. I could not care less.
It was great. It was great because I have to give applause because from the horrible new sequels, you know how the fighting between Rhea, whatever her fucking name is, Between her and the other Jedi, like I hated the fight scenes, but like when Luke was actually fighting, he was actually doing like the Jedi moves, and then he did like the whole like crush that the
Yeah,
black.
you saw like his Darth Vader tendencies,
Yeah.
like this. So the cool thing about this is how much it mirrored the hallway fight scene with Darth Vader in Rogue One, where he basically goes down and he does a lot of the same exact moves that Anakin does, or Darth Vader does in Rogue One, and like when he crushes that last droid, it's just like, oh my god,
That was
Luke.
amazing.
It's definitely Luke. We still haven't seen his face. I mean, at this point, you've seen enough of his lightsaber. If you know his hilt, like I'm obsessed with, that's his lightsaber. So you knew it was him, but part of me like did not believe it was going to be Luke Skywalker until the second you saw his face. Like even when he was walking through like they open the blast doors, he walks through the smoke and still has his lightsaber. The second I still wasn't fully like that's definitely Luke Skywalker until like I didn't want to. I wanted to believe it, but I didn't want to. If that makes sense. And when it happened, I was just like, oh my god! And then they tie it into a story that's so well woven. This whole season has just been awesome. So to see it kind of come full circle and then make like the most logical decision in the Star Wars universe to bring in the probably the most well-known Jedi and Star Wars lore into this is just amazing. I guess kept this a secret when you had Ahsoka being spoiled as Rosario Dawson coming in as Ahsoka, which was a huge spoiler prior to the season starting, and nothing came out about Mark
Luke.
Hamill. Yeah, like Mark Hamill, that was Mark Hamill's voice. Like he reprised his role. He was credited for playing Luke Skywalker in this. So he was actually, I mean, I did hear some rumors.
He kept,
but it was like he's always on set because it's Mark Hamill. He always has like a special pass. So no one thought anything of it. Like obviously, Mark Hamill today can't play Luke Skywalker of
at least the younger version. But like, as a funny thing is, I saw his Twitter like right after the episode aired. He was like, "So, anything good on TV today?" or something like that. But he kept that secret for almost like a year and a half. I can't believe that. That's crazy to me.
Dude, it's insane. I can just go through each episode like one by one. I mean, it's hard to say which episode was the weakest or which is. I mean, I think.
I know there is some like some weak ones, but like there's not. But they're really weak. There was no filler at all.
So the first episode's the Marshal, and I guess that would be the 10th chapter.
Yeah.
Officially, the first episode of season 2. That's where he meets the guy with Boba Fett's armor. And this is like setting the stage for how epic everything was going to be this season with tying into Star Wars lore. And what I like about the show is that they tie into the Star Wars stuff, but it's not like beating over the head like, this is Star Wars, the way the sequel trilogy did. Because the sequel trilogy did it in a way that was just like, oh, okay. Like it got old. Like even the first scene when Ray and Finn are running away from the stormtroopers in whatever sand place they were at and saw the Millennium Falcon. Like that's a hunk of junk. And then they run to that. It's just like, okay. It just keeps going on and on and on. This is like these subtle jabs, and it doesn't do it just for the sake of fan service. I feel like Boba Fett comes in for a very specific reason, and like everything comes in. So like having that first episode, which is cool, you see the Krayt Dragon for the first time, which is huge because you hear about it in all the expanded lore. You see the bones in episode 4 when R2D2 and C3PO are walking through the desert right at the beginning. That's the Krayt Dragon bones. Like all that stuff is there. Like that's not the same one, but that's one of them.
Yeah.
To see them do that and then get the armor and you sort of right from the start, it kind of sets a stage for Mando. Like, all right, this guy's not a Mandalorian. Why are you taking your helmet off? And like that, like.
Yeah, that's when you're kind of like, oh, he's a fraud.
God almighty. And I would say the next one is probably the weakest one in this. The whole
season,
which is it's called The Passenger. That's the one where the frog
lady. Oh, the frog lady. Yeah.
The ice planet. But again, like
it was still good though. It was still good.
This week there were so many good jabs at other media. Obviously, the alien references when Baby Yoda goes up to the eggs and eats one of them. Like there's so many different references to other movies there. You have Dave Filoni coming in as one of the X-Wing fighters, and then the one Asian guy is on a bunch of other shows.
Yeah, I was like, he's in a lot of like shows. I saw him too. I'm like, he's in many shows that I've seen.
But the way they go about it and like the best part of that episode I thought was when they like stop him like right at the beginning when they stop him, and he's like, "May the force be with you," and he's just like,
okay,
"Okay,
all right,
he's
like whatever."
And then they're like, "Yeah, one more thing," and then you see the X-wings go into their attack position.
Their attack mode.
Like, oh my god, this is gonna be the best thing ever. So, I would say that's probably the weakest episode in the season, and it was still awesome. Like, I don't think it was bad. I mean, it was great. The next episode was where they took it up a notch. And I know, again, you haven't watched Clone Wars or Rebels or any of these things.
I'm just your average Star Wars fan.
Yeah, like you don't know that Darth Maul comes back and like is a huge story, a huge piece of the Mandalorian thing. Like I can go into a whole episode about how Darth Maul comes back. He ends up going to the home planet of Mandalore. He ends up fighting Bo-Katan's sister, I believe, or I think Bo-Katan's sister might be the one that's in love with Obi-Wan. Like Obi-Wan has a love interest in the Clone Wars, like that he pushed away to stay as a Jedi.
Oh.
Darth Maul ends up killing her with I believe with Darksaber. Because Darth Maul ends up getting the Darksaber at one point in the Clone Wars or Rebels series, and he becomes basically the leader of Mandalore.
He was trying to put Obi-Wan to the dark side.
Exactly. So the third episode is The Heiress, I believe it's called. So that's all about the other
Mandalorians
that come in.
That's when they're on the boat and then Baby Yoda gets kicked in the little fishing thing or something, right?
Yeah, they basically go into like that fishing thing, but the main part about that was Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan's a huge character in the Star Wars series in terms of the animated shows and like seeing her live action. So Katie Sackhoff, who plays Bo-Katan in the show, she actually is the same person that voices her in Clone Wars. So like in Clone Wars and Rebels. So like seeing her do it, she pulls it off perfectly. Like she looks just like she does in the Clone Wars. Yeah, they couldn't have pulled it off better. But seeing her again, kind of expanding on the lore of like, this is the Mandalorian. This is the story part about it where you realize that now the Mandalorian, Din Djarin or whatever, our main Mando, we'll call him.
Mm-hmm.
He is really just a part of the Death Watch, which again is another huge part. Like the Death Watch is a cult of Mandalore. Like you got to think of Mandalore as almost like Sparta, and you have all these like warring tribes. And the Death Watch was like one of these warring tribes. That's actually the same tribe that Darth Maul took over to take over Mandalore. Like he took over that tribe, and then he took Mandalore back with them. So like all that stuff comes into play. So like again, it sets the stage for like how he's going to take his helmet off this season, and it's going to be a big deal. Like everybody knows it's going to happen. So, and then at the end, the big huge name drop is, and the people that again that aren't watching the expanded stuff hear Ahsoka Tano. You got to go find the Jedi Ahsoka Tano. I'm like,
because like I remember we have our watch party every Friday watching it, and like Dylan and Vicky, they were kind of like, oh my god, and I'm like, who the hell is that?
So yeah, I mean, like, and I'll get to that per episode, but Ahsoka Tano is, I mean, we could just, that's like 2 episodes away, but yeah, we'll just go right to it.
We'll go right to it.
2 episodes away, it's just called The Jedi, where you basically, the idea is he just goes into this town where a Jedi is terrorizing the place, hypothetical, but you find out it's just like a dictator from the Empire. He ends up finding Ahsoka Tano, and she basically refuses to train Grogu. And the whole, like, if you know the whole expanded lore, this is Anakin Ahsoka is Anakin's Padawan. So, like, this is the person that Anakin trained. So, like, she had already fought Darth Vader. And
did she ever know that it was him or no?
Like, she did because she hit him in the face with her lightsaber with his helmet on, and it. You could see his face.
Show his face.
So like it's a huge part of like they have a big duel in season 2 or 3 of Rebels, and she hits his helmet, and you can see like this busted up face of Anakin Skywalker, and it's the same Anakin animated as it is in Clone Wars. So like all this stuff ties in together. So now she's like, I refuse to do this because it's, I don't want to, like, I could see the anger in him just like Anakin. So, and the whole story with Ahsoka is she's not really a Jedi. It's funny that they call her a Jedi because she isn't technically a Jedi.
It's like I'm neither. Yeah, like I'm neither. I do my own thing.
Like she's what's called a gray Jedi, or if you want to call it that. They're basically a Jedi in between.
So like that's why like her sabers are like white because she's like neither bad nor good, but she could do like light or dark or something like that. She's not aligned to like either side.
Qui-Gon Jinn was technically a gray Jedi as well. That's why he wasn't on the council. So
Oh,
like, if you remember
Qui-Gon?
in episode 1, yeah, Qui-Gon wasn't on the council, even though he was probably as powerful as like Mace Windu and stuff. So
Oh, wow.
there was a lot of politics in play, and if you look at the expanded lore like that, there's a big sect of people called the Grey Jedi. I think Count Dooku actually was a Grey
Was on
Jedi
that.
too, so it makes sense that Qui-Gon would follow that path. But she's in that same thing. She gets falsely accused of something, of murder, when she's in the Jedi Academy or whatever, and then it ends up being she ends up getting framed, and after they reverse their their trial,
And
or
that's
whatever,
why
they
she's
invite
like,
her
I
back,
refuse
and then,
to like be with the Jedi again because they're
yeah,
like they
so
were
like
trying to kill me.
Yeah, like so Yoda and Mace Windu bring her back. They're like, hey, you're part of us again. She walks away from the Jedi Order, like leaves her lightsabers and leaves. So
Screw
she
you
can start
guys.
yeah, so like she's totally and that's like another part to play of like the Clone Wars, and why Anakin gets all angry, and like this super like quick shift of him like just wrecking shop and killing younglings. There's all this other stuff that happened in Clone Wars where he's got his reasons for being pissed at the Jedi Order, because they falsely accuse somebody that was his best friend. Like he and her and Anakin were about as good as friends as Anakin and
Obi-Wan.
So anyway, seeing her there, and then seeing her with Grogu, which I don't know about the name.
Yeah, Grogu, I was kind of like,
Baby
really?
Yoda.
Of all names
Baby
to call
Yoda
Baby
for-
Yoda? Oh, yeah, I was okay. We're still going to call him Baby Yoda. But
Yeah,
man, my girl, Rosario Dawson, man. Ah,
Yeah.
man.
She plays that part like I didn't think
Like the look of her?
makeup and that was pretty true to what she looks like in the comics. Like,
Yeah.
it's about as good as you can get it live action.
I know, like,
CGI.
I know some people are fucking pricky about, like live appearances and things like that. But I guess like the voice actor for her for the Clone Wars, like she's the voice of her, but she doesn't like look like her.
Yeah.
And
there was
Dawson
more-
looks like the character, but doesn't have the voice. So it's kind of like you gotta compensate for one or the other.
Yeah, no, Ahsoka's like she's become probably like in the last 15 to 20 years, she's probably like in the top 3 most loved characters of Star Wars. So
She beats
there
Rhea.
There was a big push to make her, the voice actor, the same person, like make her actually do this in live action. And obviously she doesn't look the
She doesn't
exact
look
part.
the
She doesn't
part.
have any acting ability really. Like
Oh.
I don't think she's just a voice actor. So, but yeah, she's like super loved. But I mean, I think Rosario Dawson did a great job.
She did.
I'm
She did
glad
great.
This episode was like a one and done though with her.
Instead of
So-
like having like another episode or two, trying to like I wouldn't say drag it, but keep having the hook on the fish type thing and just keep going with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that kind of goes into the whole season. Like she sends him on his way, like, "Yep, go to this Jedi temple," and that's
There's
where
like
the
one episode, one and done. I like that. Yeah, I kind of agree with that too. I was kind of like that was
There
her
not an
episode.
I would say the one with the spiders was the filler episode, and it was still amazing.
That was a great episode.
So, and then after this episode is when they go to the Jedi temple, and Baby Yoda convenes with the Jedi, an unknown Jedi.
I don't know Jedi.
And the
Yeah.
best part about that whole episode, like there are so many moments in this season where something happened, and I'm like, oh my god, it's that. And
Yeah.
this is one of them. This is probably number 2 biggest moments. Is Baby Yoda starts convening with, obviously it's Luke Skywalker at this point. We assume it is. I mean, a lot of people kind of assumed it is, but the best part of this episode is you see Mando looking at Baby Yoda, and all of a sudden you hear, and it's Slave One coming out of the atmosphere, and I'm just like, Slave One. I started yelling it. This is when I was in Texas for Thanksgiving.
What's
And we're
Slave One?
watching it. Slave One is the ship that Boba Fett.
Oh, okay.
It's the same ship that Jango Fett had in episode 2, when he fights Obi-Wan and all that stuff. It's the same ship, or when they do the seismic charges, which we'll get to that in the next season or next episode. And oh my god, it's just seeing the ship come in was just awesome, because it was just, I don't know, it was everything I wanted to be Star Wars. And again, it's taking lore that is loved and not like shitting on it, not doing it just for the sake of fan service. Like it makes sense that he's going there for the armor. It makes 100% sense. And I'll get back to another big point I want to make in the season finale as well, but I'll get there.
I mean,
So
we're almost getting
basically,
there.
they have that episode in the Jedi Temple, and Boba just wrecks shop. I mean, you see what he can do with the armor and how badass he is, and obviously they take the child. So That's cool. And then you have the next episode where my favorite comedian of all time, Bill
Bill
Burr,
Burr.
comes back, and I did not know. I didn't hear anything about him coming back. My God, he
kept it secret too.
He basically has the best acting chops of this entire series. I mean, he was great in this episode, I thought. I mean, he showed a lot of for a comedian, he is becoming one of the better actors. It's crazy to me. Like, I don't know if you've watched his last movie with Pete Davidson.
Yeah, the King of Staten Island.
Yeah, like between that movie and this episode, it's like, how in the world? Like, this guy actually is
he's a really good actor. Yeah, he went from Dave Chappelle, now he's in Star Wars. Like, come on, man, Dave Chappelle's a great show too. But come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy how well
like a comedian like that can go from like, stand-up comedy to doing like all these like, these big budget projects, which is great too. I like that. Yeah, I like him too. Like, he probably didn't think, he was like, holy shit, they want me back for another season. Like, all right, sure, I'll play it.
I listened to his podcast every once in a while. He talked about it the first time he was on set. He's like, I don't know anything about Star Wars. I don't even know. So like, it's just funny having him in there, and he just plays a good role. And again, I would say this is probably a filler episode. Like, if you had to name the filler episodes of the season, this is probably a filler episode, and it's still one of the best episodes of the season.
Because all they had to do was just get like the coordinates for Moff Gideon, right?
The whole episode is them just trying to sneak into this Imperial base to get the
coordinates
for Moff Gideon. So
that was it.
About it is, like, obviously there's the two best parts of it is they get into this place, and they obviously have to get into this little ATM, this Imperial ATM.
Yeah, Imperial ATM machine.
And basically Mando has to take his helmet off, and it's just like this huge moment, like a huge moment. And you can tell, like, he would do anything for the kid. What he wants to do, and then it's like he's super torn on doing it, and then he does it, and it's just like, okay, all right, I'm done with that. And obviously the monologue between this, like, clearly like Civil War racist guy,
the douchebag commander.
Bill Burr plays Mayfield, right? That whole conversation was straight out of not Django Unchained, but Inglourious Bastards. Like, the whole scene in the bar in the basement in France.
Yeah, at the very beginning.
Like that whole, no, not that one. The one when they have the shootout in the bar, when they're sneaking into like the compound to meet the French actress lady.
Oh, with the card. Yeah, okay, yeah.
That's like that whole scene. So like,
it was basically like that. It's very tense.
It was so good. And then obviously he shoots him because he's like, F this guy.
Yeah.
I love how he looks at Mando. He's like,
Mando's like.
It was like Django Unchained at that point where, Christoph Waltz shoots Leonardo DiCaprio.
He's like, I'm sorry. I had to.
It was just that moment. And then obviously they shoot their way out. They get back to, Boba's ship or whatever. Or they don't even get to Boba's ship at this point. Oh no, they do. They pick him up.
They did, yeah, they got him on the roof.
And then the best part of the whole episode, I thought, I was like, this is like the small things, the small touches. There's just no detail. There's no, like, it's like when you're playing a very, very good video game like Skyrim, and it's like there's a little rock over there, and you look at the rock, and you look at all the details in the rock, and it's just like somebody had to code all this stuff. It's the same thing like that. And you see,
it's a very nice rock.
You see Slave One fly away. It looks exactly like it did before, and of course you have the seismic charge. The two TIE fighters come after it. The seismic charge. I see the little thing pop out, and I go, "Oh my god, they're gonna do it just like episode 2." It comes out, and you hear. It sounds just like the whole audio just cuts and it goes and it kills them. Oh my god! The whole season, there's so many nerd out moments. Like, especially if you're a fan of the prequels. If you're a fan of the prequels, like, obviously you're not the best.
It's bad for me because I remember the prequels more than I do like the OG trilogy. Because I
do too. I watched them probably more.
I was gonna say, I think for like this season too, like I think it rewards the people that actually watch like the cartoon versions, like the Clone Wars, the Rebels. Like, I think the cartoon version. I don't even think like if you read the books, there's not a lot in there. But if you took the time and actually watched like all the cartoons that they made for for like, Cartoon Network and things like that, it rewards those fans, and then it actually pays off like long term, and everyone's all like, "Oh my god, like it finally fucking paid off."
Dude,
I think that is like pretty. I think that is pretty awesome. That like Jon Favreau is all like, "All right, guys, I know Disney fucked up, Star Wars. I gotta save them now." So.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, it's doing exactly. I mean, it's so good on a storytelling level. It's also such a good on a business level. Like they're doing exactly with Star Wars what they're doing with the MCU, and this is the first time it's really been successful.
Yeah.
Like they try to do it with the movies and just pump out movies, and it doesn't work because it's Star Wars. It's a little bit different, but they're doing it and they're setting up all this stuff for their Disney Plus thing, and it's so good on a business level, but it's also not. It's taking all those things that everybody loves, like the animated series and the prequels, and it's not shitting on them, it's building on them, and it's making them even richer. It makes people that, like you, that haven't seen Bo-Katan come up probably want to go watch Clone Wars. Like there are episodes that are absolutely terrible of that show. Like it's a kids show.
Yeah.
It is total garbage. I would say skip them. But there are episodes of those shows where there's a couple episodes where all it does is follow Yoda around when he goes to these different Jedi temples, and he goes to the Sith temple and he talks to Darth Bane. And like if you know the Old Republic video games and all that stuff, like Darth Bane is the one who created the Rule of Two. So like in Darth Sidious talks about the Rule of Two, and there can only be one. There can only be two. There's a master and apprentice. Like Darth Bane's the one
who made up that rule.
So like if you have played the video games 20 years ago, you understand who Darth Bane is. He shows up and talks to Yoda as a Force ghost. So like that's the kind of thing that it goes into it, and it builds on from that. Into that, and we've got the Bad Batch coming up, which is another show that's coming to Disney Plus, which I'm super excited for because it's basically Clone Wars season 7 or 8, whatever episode or season they're on. So, but anyways, back to Mando season finale. Holy shit! So.
Well, before you talk about that, I really love Moff Gideon, dude. Like he's the I think my favorite villain so far in the whole. There's not that many villains to go around for Star Wars that I know, but like, I fucking love Moff Gideon, dude. He's great.
Dude, compared to like a Hux.
Yeah.
Why couldn't they have just done something like that for the sequel trilogies? Is beyond me. Like, and I think the last movie, there was that one Imperial guy that was still like a diehard Sidious commander. He was part of like the first, not the last order, I guess it is. He was super cool, but they didn't explore him enough because he was introduced in the last one. If he would have been there the whole time, like he could have been the Tarkin of the original, the sequel trilogy. But yeah, I totally agree. Moff Gideon's great. I mean, he plays Gus Fring for sure. Like he's totally good. I can't get past him.
Apoyos Hermanos.
Yeah, like I can't get past him being anybody other than Gus Fring, but it works for the show. It totally works for the show. He's great. I love when he's like, just take the child. You can get out of here. And then he pulls the knew it was going to happen, but it was so good. The one thing I wanted to mention about this is there was one, they get onto this light cruiser, which the light cruisers, again, all the ships and everything, they're going right from the source material, like that's established in Clone Wars and Rebels, and they're pulling those ships even, like to the detail of the ships, and making it all canon and making sure it all fits narratively. They even referenced Operation Cinder in this one, which is the last operation of Sidious after he dies in episode 6. That's basically what the whole Battlefield 2 single player campaign is based around, is Operation Cinder. And it basically says the Imperials all have to die, because if I die, it all has to burn.
Everyone has to die.
It's like the last order. It's not the last order, but it's all about like burning everything to the ground. And moving everything out to I believe it sets the stage for moving everything to the outer rim for the final
galaxy,
order, right? So like there's just so much stuff referenced there. But the thing I wanted to mention was there was a scene basically where all the chicks are running through the hallway. I loved it. I love how it actually felt like these chicks could actually do
these
it.
These women are badass. It wasn't like Marvel when they said like the whole like, oh, you're gonna have a hard time getting through that, and it's like, oh, don't worry. she's got help. And I'm like, oh, come on.
Yeah, and it's just like there's something called subtlety, and that totally escapes the MCU, and that at least in that scene for sure, and like that pulled me out of that huge ass 45-minute scene, that whole fight scene.
The whole fight
for
scene
like
for like 15-second shot of just like all the women.
I'm just like, okay. All right, you got your moment. Congrats. This part was totally not like that.
No, it wasn't at all.
I have experience. I've seen all these people in different medium, and now they're all together and doing it, and it's just totally believable. It's not political. There's no message behind it. It's just these are some badass chicks that just
they actually fight. They actually get wounded and things like that. So you're like, all right, we know these girls are tough. From that scene to like Marvel's scene, like when I saw Pepper, I'm like, she doesn't fight. Like, get out of here.
Yeah, like, what is her formal?
Yeah, what's her training?
I mean, I know like. Yeah, that's all I want to say about that. I mean, it was done the right way. And
I totally agree with that.
Don't have like a female empowerment moment. Like that's the way you do it, because everybody can get behind that in a way that's positive, and it's not like beating you over the head. Like women aren't weak. Like we get it, okay? Like
yeah, we get it.
Do it this way, so they're good characters that we care about. Like I don't care about Pepper Potts coming down. So I just wanted to mention
she never should have been in there in the first place.
Yeah, but so anyways, the season finale was amazing. The whole thing is just a rescue mission to get Baby Yoda back from Moff Gideon, and they infiltrate the light cruiser. I love how they use like Boba Fett, and they get into the Imperial shuttle. And again, the Imperial shuttle looks exactly like it did in the original movies. And they basically go in, and the part where they go into it, and I don't know if you watch these cinematics or not, but that whole scene where they fly into the dock or whatever. Yeah, that totally reminded me of, I think it's Knights of the Old Republic. There's a cutscene where basically they take a shuttle, the Sith Empire or whatever you want to call it at the time. This is before Rule of Two, when the Sith have a following just like the Jedi have a following. There's like thousands of Sith. There's a Sith army. There's hundreds of red lightsabers versus hundreds of green and blue lightsabers. There's a cutscene, a cinematic, and it's one of the best cinematics in Star Wars history, where there's a shuttle that runs right into the Jedi Council, or not Jedi Council, but the Jedi Temple, and it stops, and then it opens up the back, just like it opened up the back in this one.
Yeah, from the other one.
You can't see it, and instead of all the people coming out to take down this light cruiser, you just see like 30 red lightsabers light up in the cinematic. I will have to send it to you after this. It totally reminded me of that. It also reminded me of Battlestar Galactica. So, like, I don't know if you've ever watched Battlestar Galactica, but another really, really great show. Bo-Katan, played by Katie Sackhoff, she's one of the main characters in that show. The way the way the TIE fighters come right out of the light cruiser, that's exactly like Battlestar Galactica. Like, it's clear as day that they're referencing Battlestar Galactica. Same thing with the Dark Troopers. Like, those just look like the Cylons in Battlestar. They look identical.
I don't know. They look familiar from somewhere.
They look just like it. Only they're black instead of silver.
Yeah, I say like they had a lot of Easter eggs too, and like this in this season too. Speaking of like the ending too, like I didn't think. Well, I mean, I know when he was about to hand Baby Yoda off to Luke, I was just thinking like he's gonna show his face because he's like, I don't know when I'm gonna see the child ever again.
Oh my god!
And he did it. He did it.
It was just everything was set up so well.
It was great.
There was a lot of things like I kind of predicted that would happen, and some people were like, I knew. There was a lot of people that were saying Luke's gonna come. I was like, yeah, that makes sense on a story wise. I just don't know if they're gonna do that. If they're
gonna have the budget to do it.
Well, I think they have the budget to do it. I just don't think they would do it. Like are they trying to make this big of a show, or are they trying to make it still small? And that I think having Baby Yoda leave the show with Luke, because I don't think we're gonna see Baby Yoda for a while. We probably won't see him in all next season. Maybe 2 or 3 seasons. We won't see him.
Maybe for mid-season. Maybe if they do like a lapse, like few years.
If they do a time lapse.
If they do a time lapse, yeah.
I don't think there's anywhere to go with the story until he gets older and more trained. So it makes total sense that even if I said last night when I was watching this show could end right now, and I'd be happy with this is where the series ends. Like I obviously want more because more to go with the Darksaber and Bo-Katan. Like that's what they're setting up as the the fight over Mandalore.
Yeah,
But
for spin-offs.
yeah, but I mean, I think that's where Mandalorian's going to go. I think Bo-Katan will be a
follow
series
them.
regular. Yeah, I think it's going to be, he basically, his whole thing was, if you help me get the child back, I'll help you get Mandalore back. Like he committed to that. So now he's got Darksaber. They're at odds because he's got it. He doesn't want to.
I thought that was
like,
funny too. Was that like when he fought Moth Gideon, he got the saber and whoever the chick was all pissed off with them. He was like, yeah. I like how he's like, I don't want it here, take it. He's like, yeah, I forfeit. So, like, I forfeit.
so now it's like she can't
rule.
So there's gonna be like some sort of political game there because it's almost gonna be. I mean, some people are saying it's gonna be like Game of Thrones in space. I don't think it'll be like that, but there's gonna be some way that they're gonna work together to get Mandalore back, and I don't know how that's gonna play out. But I'm excited. But again, I feel like this show could be ended right here, right now, and Mandalorian is done. Like it feels like I don't know. It's just great.
Because didn't like the first episode of the Mando, that was when Baby Yoda was introduced, and like mostly like every episode, Baby Yoda was in it one way or another.
He was in every single episode except the second to last episode of this season.
Yeah. So I feel like people would be like, "Oh no, where's Baby Yoda?"
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for the show because I think Baby Yoda, like, there's only so much you can do with him.
Like, yeah.
Storytelling-wise, I think exploring Mandalore is going to be great because again, Mandalore is like the Sparta of space. Like Sparta, like think Leonidas in space, and that's exactly like the helmet. even the way the helmets are designed, they look like
exactly like the helmets.
Like, the parallels between that, like it's crazy. So I don't know. The whole season, I don't know what it's a 5 out of 5 for me. I love it. I love every single second of it.
I like how the one thing too is that when they actually emphasis on like how strong his armor is, and they actually showed it. Like I was actually like, finally, okay, that's not like he's not wearing it just for decoration. He actually like gets hit by the saber and gets punched by those black robot looking dudes. And it doesn't break or anything. And I was like, finally, they're showing like how good his armor is, instead of just.
It makes sense on the lore too. Like, and if you're deep into it, it's like the Mandalorians fought the Jedi for years. Like there was a Mandalorian, like they fought each other. Like the Darksaber was the lightsaber of the first Mandalorian Jedi. So like after he died, the Jedi basically kept the Darksaber in the temple to like honor him, and then the Mandalorians came and took it. So there was like this whole strife between them. Like they're not friends historically. So like seeing them together, like especially kind of going back to that Ahsoka episode, how awesome was the cinematography in that? Like seeing the Asian background, like that, it's clear as day. It's like an old school Asian like Japanese film, like the fight between Ahsoka and the one chick, and then
it's like a garden
western shootout between him and the other, like the gun for hire. Like I don't know how you can't see the clear like filmmaking. Just I don't even know how they did it.
It's like they picked like the right crew to make this film. They kind of like, all right, we know what we're talking about. The movie people don't know anything. So all right.
And I think it was subtle too. Like I don't think it was just like, I didn't think it was over the head.
It wasn't
beating you over the head like this is a Japanese film. Like I'm not trying to. It was just like. Nope, the music shifted slightly. There were so many good, everything about it. I love this whole season. The show's definitely my favorite show on TV right now. I mean, hands down. I can't think of another show that's my favorite right now. But
The Queen's Gambit.
Yeah, I'm good. So yeah, that's my general take on The Mandalorian season 2. Oh my god, that's a lot.
I know you had a lot to talk about. But coming from me, for the average Star Wars viewer, I enjoyed it, especially like I know like a lot of people, like I said, will get a lot out of it if you watch like the cartoons. Then 10, 15 years later they make a brand new live action series, and a cartoon actually has made it into a live action. You're like, holy shit, I never thought I'd see the day where a cartoon went to live action. So I mean, I think that's pretty cool. I think like overall too, like I made a joke and I was saying, I was like, fucking Pedro Pascal's back must be hurt, man. He's carrying the Star Wars Disney Plus apps and all this other stuff. Like he better be making bank because he's the one carrying everything right now. I mean, so is John Favreau,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
but it's more of Pedro because he's like,
I mean, I would say Dave Filoni and John Favreau. I mean, they're the two, and
they're the
I don't know
two.
if you know who Dave Filoni is or anything, but Dave Filoni is basically the next George Lucas. Like he's the one. The reason why all these different directors are able to come in here and have all these specific details that are like to the grain, correct and more, is because Dave Filoni's in there. Like he is the one who created Clone Wars. He's the one who created the Ahsoka character. Like he has been in this world for 20 years. So like,
If anyone knows anything about Star Wars, it's me.
I mean, he knows his stuff.
He knows his stuff.
He's the reason that he obviously wasn't involved in the sequel trilogy. Like it was a big mistake.
There you
Disney
go.
Not involve him. And it was clear as day that he wasn't involved because a lot of the stuff that happened there just wouldn't have happened. I mean, just wouldn't have.
Nope, not in a million years. I'm really hoping too. Like my whole theory is like when Luke showed up and like he took Baby Yoda. I was just thinking like, so we're just gonna forget about the sequels that happened. So we're just gonna say, all right, those movies, like those never happened. Okay. I have a feeling that's gonna happen. So like I give it like I give it like season 4 of Mando if it goes that long. But like if they do another like expansion of something else, and it leads to like episode 7, it had nothing to do with episode 7 or something like that, and they're like, all right guys, this is the brand new this is your request. We saw your petitions that you don't want the sequels, that it never happened, it never existed. Well, here you go. We're making a episode 7 Redux.
So I mean, I would say it's probably the total opposite is going to be, and the reason why I would say that is because Clone Wars is basically, if you watch Clone Wars all the way through, it's clearly like bridging the gap between episode 2 and 3, and it makes more sense. Everything in episode 3 that happens makes so much more sense when you watch all the Clone Wars. I think this show could be like that for bridging the gap between episodes 6 and 7, and like a good example of that is showing how they're basically developing Snoke in those tubes. Like that's the whole reason why they're trying to get Baby Yoda's blood. They need the the midichlorian count, which goes back to the prequels. It ties back to the prequels, to basically build Sidious and Snoke back. So it makes sense. So I mean, I think they'll do it and build it. If they can do it, build it up to a way that it actually is a benefit to the sequel, and I think that's what Dave Filoni does so well. From everything they've done this season, I think that's more likely to happen, is them building on the lore and actually making those movies make more sense by watching 4 or 5 other seasons of a bunch of different other series.
Yeah, as much he's like, I know the movie is ass, but I'll somehow find a way to make it all make sense, making it all connected somehow. I want to put trash into gold. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm turning trash into gold. But yeah, so is that it for the Mando?
Oh
Mandalorian
yeah,
season 2.
Holy crap! I could talk about that for hours, but yeah, I mean that's my general take of the series so far. It's season 2. It's
5 out of 5, or 10 out of 10.
Yeah, so now we get to
dampen the mood a little bit now.
CYBERPUNK 2077.
All right, so
tell me all about it.
All right, so for those of you who don't know, there's this little game that's been hyped for almost 10 years. Well, I won't say hype. That's been in development for almost 10 years, and I heard about it maybe, I think when they actually showed the first gameplay footage.
Yeah, I think E3 of 2017 is.
Yeah, that was when I was like, holy shit, that's pretty dope. And that's when that was the first thing I heard of Cyberpunk. So I was like, okay, I like where this is going and things like that. So then fast forward 3 years later, 2020, and all of a sudden it's like, all right, it's finally gonna launch, and everyone's all like, oh my god, this is gonna be the greatest game of all time. What?
I knew this game was going to be garbage.
Oh my god! All right, so
that's why I kept saying, you guys are like, are you going to get CYBERPUNK 27? You and Dylan, when we were talking, I go, I think I'm going to delay my purchase for another 3 months. We'll reevaluate and then. I'm not buying it.
So fast forward now, the launch was literally a week ago, and the sales are great and all, but now everyone has it. It's just a fire dumpster, man. Even for the new consoles, it runs terrible. I have both Xbox Series X and a PS5, but I bought it specifically for Xbox because I don't know. I felt like
There's
it would.
nothing else for Xbox.
Well, yeah, that too. But like, okay, so I played for. I think I probably put at least like 30 hours into it, and I just been doing side missions. I haven't. I think the main mission I only got to where I got to Johnny Silverhand, and that was it. I couldn't go any further because the bugs killed my mood for the story. So like every time there was a cutscene, and it would be like a funny little like glitch to where like the character's moving around, but it stopped, but he's still like acting in the cutscene. Or if like I had to follow like that character to like a location, they wouldn't move, and I had to like restart the game, and I'm just like, it's fucking killing my mood. I have to like it's more of like I had to keep reloading my checkpoint. That's what kept killing my experience. And the glitches too. Like there was a part where I'm talking about just the intro. Like I haven't done the middle. There's a lot of stuff to do in the intro. I think like if you had to go through the intro, it'd probably take you like 2.5 hours just to do the intro. And that's just like the main title, and that's it. And that's where you can actually start playing the game. But like, well, it'll open up to more options for you to do. But okay, so game wise, it's how can I say this? If I had to pick between this game and Fallout 4, I probably be playing Fallout 4 because Fallout 4 did a lot more things better than they did Cyberpunk for reasons I'll tell you. For one, character builds. Character builds don't mean shit in Cyberpunk, which I was very disappointed. So if you wanted to play a stealthy character, you can be like a stealthy pistol whipping ninja dude in this game. Doesn't really matter. So say if you just put all your skill points into like just sneaking around, it's not gonna matter because you can play however you want to play, which really dampens the mood. So say if you kept using like pistols, you can just use pistols the entire time. You get better at it, but say if you ran out of pistol ammo, you just pick up like a submachine gun and you can just mow down people. And this is like later levels too. So like say your like pistol skills like all close to the max. You haven't touched your submachine gun skill at all. It's like level 1, but you can still mow down people, which really pisses me off. So you didn't focus any of those skills whatsoever on that. And I don't know. There's that. And like I guess like the whole thing what I was getting out of it too, like especially like the cybernetics to where like how much humanity would you lose if you like put like cyber enhancements like into your person? Like would you change that? Like say you become more of like an AI than human? I thought they would go more deeper into that. So say like you didn't put like any cybernetics into your character. You're still like 100% human. Like does that like benefit like gameplay wise or story wise? But if you put like all the cybernetics like into your legs, mind and all things like that, would that change the way you are? Things like that. But it really didn't touch basis on that at all, which I was kind of disappointed too. But the music, I will say this, the music is phenomenal. I love the music, especially when you get into combat. It's about as cyberpunk-ish, I guess, that if that's a word or if that's a genre. It fits the world. Like as soon as you like enter Night City, like you got Run by the Jewels rapping. It's hype. I like it. All the music and everything is great. Voice acting's great. I really don't care much for female V because female V voice actor is just it's just I didn't care for it. But female voice actor for V is still good. I thought they would have more variety of character customization, but there's really not much, which I was still bummed about that too. There's just so much like Fallout 4 did right that I thought Cyberpunk would like build off of that, especially for like character customization and many different ways you can play the game and things like that. Because most of the time I've been playing stealthy and like there's really no benefit to it, which really pisses me off. And like and there's like this good awesome perk for sneaking. So say like you can throw like like in Far Cry, where like you say if you do a takedown and you grab the dude's knife and you throw it at him, Like they could have done something like that, but it's stupid how the way they do it. So say if you could throw a throwing knife in a stealth mode and you can one shot him. But the thing is that like you say if you had like 5 knives, you equip one and it carries like, okay, you have 4 left after you use this one. It doesn't do that. Once you use one knife, you gotta click on the menu, push the pause button, go to your menu, equip that knife, and do it all over again. And you lose. It's so repetitive, and I hate it so much. So it's like there's no point to using a throwing knife perk at all. If I gotta keep push start, go to the knife, equip it, then exit off the menu, and then
So you can't like pull it out of the body of the guy you just hit. That's stupid as hell.
Oh no, like I'm saying, like say if you had 5 knives. And usually there's like 1 and a slash and a 4. So say you have like 4 knives. It doesn't do that. It only shows you 1. Then after you use the knife, it's 0 and you have no weapon. You got to go to your menu, your inventory, open it up, equip it, and do it again. Like that pisses me off so much. So
that's like Assassin's Creed doing that. Like if you had,
it's like like say if you had throwing knives in Assassin's Creed. Like say if you had like 5, you throw them and you find or you used 5 out of the 1 out of the 5 and you have 4 left. Like that makes perfect sense. Okay, I can spam 4 knives until I run out. Cyberpunk doesn't do that, and that pissed me off because I thought stealthy was going to be a great build, but it pissed me off. There's another thing too. Okay, I know a lot of people. I love Keanu Reeves, but him playing Johnny Silverhand. I didn't think he was the right actor. I'm gonna say it out. Say it right now. I love Keanu Reeves. He's a great actor and all, but when he's Johnny Silverhand, he's not Johnny Silverhand. I can't see Keanu Reeves playing a douche.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some parts where he's like, okay, that was pretty funny what he said, but I think he was trying really, really hard to be like a total like tough ass as the character. I think that was the one thing I was kind of like, he was like, oh yeah, quit being a pussy, you fucking faggot, think like something like that he would say, and I was kind of like, I'm like, all right, sure, whatever, it's Johnny Silverhand, I guess. But for much of the story though, okay, I will say for the like one of the beginning missions of the game, this is a prologue. As soon as you get after the whole Night City thing montage, so you gotta like meet with the Maelstrom soldiers. They were not kidding when they said there's like 4 or 5 different ways you can play it out. I did all 5, and it's really great. I will say that. So there's a lot of replayability for missions like that. Well, you've seen it in the trailer where he was trying to get out of the meat shop, and then outside, the police or whatever, the corporal people were outside waiting for him. But anyway, that's not the point. So like there's things like that to where like before you do that mission, so if like you skipped everything else, you went straight there, you can play it however you want it. But say if you wanted to meet this lady before you go to that meeting, you'll get a new set of like dialogue trees. And I think if like you screw her over, you really do screw her over, which I was kind of like, you know what, I hate this bitch, so I'm gonna screw her over, and you do that, and there is really a lot of like dialogue choices in stories like that, and I applaud CD Punk for things like that. There's a lot of like options you can do with story. There's that. I'm trying to see what else. I'm trying to see what other good things that happen. Oh yeah, and there's another thing too, which really kind of frustrates me, is that like you can find a legendary weapon 5 minutes into the game. I shit you not. So like, say if you want the Mantis Blades, all you got to do is beat the prologue first, and then as soon as you start Act 1, you can go to this one building. And it's you're gonna face like a mini boss or something like that. You don't have to face him. It's in a crate. All you gotta do is run over to the crate, open it, yada yada yada, loot it, and get out of that area. And he doesn't chase you. And you got the legendary blades already that do like 200 damage right off the gate. So like there's that, and then like there's like other legendary melee weapons that you can find, and it's just Why would they even? I don't. That's the thing though. Like Fallout 4, the thing about Fallout 4 is they spread it out to like where you can find legendary weapons. Like you don't find them right out the gate. You have to do like a few main missions before you get like a legendary gun. And I think that's what I like about Fallout 4 is that like it paces you. But like when Cyberpunk, it doesn't have a pace, which kind of bums me out. So say like, oh yeah, I can't wait till I max up my perks and I get a legendary gun and I can be a total badass. But no, I can find a legendary melee weapon and I already beat the game. Like, there's no other weapon that can beat this one, which really bummed me out. And another thing about Cyberpunk is that there was another thing that Fallout 4 did right. I'm just trying to remember what. I just wish they had third person view, man, because your whole character customization, that's the whole point, and you don't see him at all instead of like in a mirror or in a short cutscene. So that was one thing that sucked about that. But yeah, like the bugs are just terrible. I think there was one where like I was just another thing before I get to the bugs and everything. The side missions, they're great. I'm only going to touch on two because those are the ones that stood out to me the most. Is there is a monk and he got kidnapped and he got all cybernetic, and I guess in that world monks are pure, so they don't have any human or not human. They don't have any like cybernetics into their bodies. And he got kidnapped and he got tortured and everything. He got experimented and he got implants by the Maelstrom. Those are the evil guys that look all evil and the red eyes. And it was kind of like, whoa, like his head's all like has like all wires gotten out of his head. His arms all burnt and got implants and everything. It was really like disgusting to look. And the whole like it was just a side mission too. It was like I just found him and he gave like a whole little small brief story of what happened, and he was like, oh, my brother's in here, like he has to be saved or else he'll be turned up like me. So I was kind of bummed. Like he was like, and they're good guys, and so what I did, he's like, I don't want you to kill anyone, I want you to reason with them. And I'm like, fuck that, I'm gonna go kill them. So I killed them. I rescued the brother, and the brother's like, why did you kill him? I feel bad because you killed them to try to save me. And then there was like an option like, well, it was either that or I kill you or something like that. It was something like that, and I was kind of I want to kill you because you said that, things like that. But then there was another mission where a guy, his crotch was burning because he had like a black market like cyberware. So his crotch was burning. He was kind of like, I need to go see a doc. I need to fix my groin, or else it's gonna eat me away. Things like that. Like that. Those like funny missions like that stood out to me. And I think the side mission was called Fire Crotch. And then another thing is too. And I know there's like a lot of outlets that saying like they really over sexualize in the game, because there's like there is an ad to where like I think it's like a an energy drink or something. I don't know. I can't remember what it is, but it's basically the whole like beginning of the ad is a guy just orgasming. So all this is just then it says like the actual brand of the name. You'll hear it a lot when you're in the streets, like on billboards and everything. I remember watching it the first time. I was like, what the when I was hearing, I was like, what the fuck am I even hearing? And then all of a sudden I look over and there's an ad and it said the da-da-da, but go buy so-and-so drink. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. There's a lot of like over sexualized images, but I mean it doesn't take away from my experience, because I was like, haha, that's funny when I first seen it. And I know there's like a lot of reviews, like they were saying like, oh, they made this because of images like that, they want to sell it. I'm like, no, it's not at all. I was gonna say too, I know there's like a bunch of like endings too, like in Cyberpunk, but I haven't really even got past Act 2 yet. I haven't even scratched Part 2 yet, or Act 1 or Act 2, because just the bugs are killing me. And I'm just waiting for the game just to be playable.
If you had to give it a scored review, what would you give it?
All right, I'll give it like a 5 out of 10. Right.
Jeez, that bad. It's
Yeah.
that bad. The glitches are that bad. It's not even playable.
Nope.
It's like Fallout 76 bad.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I know, like, Bethesda has a reputation for bugs and all, but like another thing is too is that like they knew like, on old Xbox and PS4s, like the original consoles, like I knew when they showed the gameplay there, that's not gonna be runnable on current gens. Like you have to have like the new systems and everything. But,
I haven't heard anybody having problems with current gen stuff. So the fact that you're having issues on Xbox Series X is super worrying. Like, jeez.
I mean, it's playable, but like for my experience, like especially like especially when I don't mean to break games, but I do it somehow because I always find ways to like cheese my way through some levels, and that's when I find a bug. So like if I'm for example, if I'm like trying to think of one scenario. So like I'm running away from cops, like I don't hear my footsteps when I'm walking. That pisses me off. And then when I accidentally like kill like a pedestrian, the cops spawn out of nowhere. Like I'm talking like GTA level 6 when the army shows up. Like you'll know when they show up, but I'm talking like as soon as I get like a 4-star rating on Cyberpunk, I turn around, they're right behind me. Like they spawn like out of the corner, and I die instantly. And that's what takes my whole like immersion out. So I was like, well, I can't kill anyone because if I even get 1 star, a cop or a robot cop will appear out of nowhere, and I have to fight it or I run away. But you can run away from it in 15 seconds and hide, and it goes away. Your wanted meter. So all you gotta do is run around the corner, around the block, just hide there for a few seconds, and your wanted level goes down. And that works on the max level wanted level too. And I mean, like story wise, I like the story so far from what I played. Excuse me. But like when it works, it's great. But when it's not, it's frustrating as hell. And I haven't touched the game since like I think when I played it for the first time at launch, I think I streamed it for like a good 4 or 5 hours, not one crash or anything after 5 hours. And then when I got done with the prologue, then the bugs happened. So like as soon as like the game actually started, that's when my problems. I think of total of crashes that I had 4 crashes, and I had to reload the game like I don't know 10 times. And like now like if I play it again after I do a mission, I quick save it every time now because I'm like I don't want to go back and restart all the bullshit that I did already. Well, like I mean, graphics on there and everything is great. I mean, gunplay is gunplay. I mean, there's not really a difference. It's just like Fallout 4, just with like cyber enhancements. I do like the quick hacks though. So say if you have high intelligence, you can bug the enemy's brain, electrocute them, or you can there's like a little perk where like you can tell them to commit suicide. Like that was pretty sick. That was sick. So that's cool.
I mean, also don't have VATs, right? So there's no VATs.
There's no VATs. I mean, well, if you do, I mean, you don't. There's no like targeting thing, but to like
slow down time.
Well, that's the quick hack ability. So you actually got to highlight them, but it does slow down time. But it doesn't like, it's not like VATs. It just slows down time. You highlight them, you click on them, and you want to see what you want to do. You want to quick hack them, or do you want to kill them by suicide, electrocute them, put them on fire, things like that. But the weapons, I think the weapons are pretty sweet too. Like I think the guns in that game are actually very, very sweet looking. They play different. The smart guns are pretty cool too. I remember in my first playthrough I was a nomad, and there was like a fire. I used like a fire pistol, and you don't have to aim. There's like a smart aim, so you can just like hit or fire from the hip, and if you had your high intelligence, it'll automatically like lock onto the enemy you're shooting at, and the pellets go right to the person behind cover. So that was pretty dope. The The mantis plays are pretty sweet. I think they're underwhelming because like say if I wanted to like stab someone, it doesn't show like the actual like gruesome execution. All it is just to poke, and that's it. I'm like, all right, well that was kind of worthless. The samurai or the katana, that's pretty dope. I think my favorite is the gorilla hands because it's kind of like if I was like Captain Rogers, I punch someone and they just go fucking flying 5 feet away once you punch them. So that was pretty dope using them. Yeah, I think what I wanted a more in depth of like, because it's all cybernetics. How human do you want to be in this game? Which didn't really touch on that at all, which I was kind of disappointed. Like with your character, I thought it was gonna be more of like Mass Effect. So it's like the more evil you get, the more evil looking you get. So I was thinking more of like that, but I was kind of disappointed, especially with like customization and things like that. But yeah, I think at launch I put a lot of hours into it, but I didn't finish the main mission because like I said, it's just bugs and crap like that just annoy me. So I don't play games like that. But luckily, I took a break from Cyberpunk. Fucking God of War is fucking amazing. Like I played that game nonstop. I did not encounter one fucking bug in that game, and it's glorious. It is a glorious game, and I know I'm going to be streaming it again. I'm going to do a second playthrough on it because it is that fucking good. And it came out like in 2018 or 2017. Or 2017 or 2018. And that game's
2019, right? Because it came out right the same year Red Dead came out.
Yeah, and those games look phenomenal. God of War is such a good looking game. I cannot wait for Ragnarok to come out. It's gonna be amazing.
Dude, I'm pumped.
Yeah. So
I gotta play both.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, that's my take on Cyberpunk. If you're one of the people, hopefully you didn't get it on the current gen. I hope to God you didn't. Get your money back and just wait for this game to go like Fallout 76. They'll turn around, put it to half price like in next week or two. I didn't think Cyberpunk would hit Fallout 76 level, but
sounds like it's getting there. The fact that Sony pulled it from the shelves,
that was crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
They like Sony of all people.
There's like a 50 gig update right when you get it too. So like it's almost like Call of Duty where you have a big huge update patch, but it's still not helping. At least the current gen stuff, none of it's working.
No. Like I was just thinking that too because when I still had the original Xbox One, and Red Dead 2 ran great on that, and I was kind of like thinking, I'm like, so how could a game like Red Dead runs so good, but Cyberpunk couldn't do that? Like I did not understand that. I didn't get it. And after like this whole catastrophe for like Cyberpunk, a lot of people were tweeting at Rockstar saying like, "All right, you can take as long as you want for Grand Theft Auto 6, just don't end up like Cyberpunk." I know a lot of tweets were saying that. I saw someone like was like GTA 6 was like trending for like a while. And I saw like a lot of people were saying like, "All right, Rockstar, take your time with like GTA 6 or whatever game you're gonna be launching next, because we don't want anything like like Cyberpunk." And I think Rockstar is the only game that can deliver, man. I think they're like the only ones left besides the people who make God of War. So like those are the only two left.
Yeah, if they could just fix their online versions, which I'm gonna go play that here in a second. They just released a new heist update, so it's pretty awesome. You basically raid Cuba, and it's awesome.
Oh, it's a new level?
It's a whole new island.
It's a new island.
Grand Theft Auto 5, yep. So you fly there, and you do a whole new heist, and it's pretty in depth. It's been pretty cool. Last night we were up to like 3 a.m. playing it. So
nice. That's great. Wow. So yeah, Cyberpunk 5 out of 10, as much as I played.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm not giving it a 7 or 7 or higher, because if I wanted to give it a 7 or higher, I probably beat the story by now, but I didn't.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty bad. I'm glad I held off. I after all the delays and stuff, especially this last delay where it was like, yeah, we're going to delay it another month. It's like, that's really, really bad sign for a game. So,
Yeah. Okay, we have 3 weeks to polish it up. I'm like, what's 3 week difference is gonna make?
3 weeks is enough to make a difference in like probably in the gaming world. So
yeah, that's not enough time. Cool. Well, I think that's a wrap on today's podcast.
oh yeah,
I think it was a great one. So we'll end off right here. I think we'll be here next week. Pretty sure we will.
well,
be.
we got Christmas. I'm going to be in Michigan, so
that's right.
Squeeze out a live podcast. Maybe we could do it. Maybe we can figure out a way to do a live podcast at your place.
All
I'll
right.
be in Michigan. So.
Yeah. All right. We'll figure out something. But if not, y'all have a good Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, all that stuff. And then after that, I guess until next year, hopefully 2021 is
a little better
than this year. I mean, hopefully something good happens. I mean, you know, after a fun year of 2020, man. Just want it over. All right, then, y'all. Take care. We'll see you next time.